Bungalow Bill here, and welcome back to From the Depths. I've finished a carrier that I've been working on, the Kittykami. It has 740 firepower between itself, its sub-vehicles, and that's very aggressive for its cost, coming in at a total cost of 400,000, meaning that overall, fairly lightly armored, mostly aiming towards, well, please don't shoot these down. At the very least, if you do, hopefully you have to throw a lot of stuff at them to throw it down. Still has a few little things to work out, like if an enemy is spawned in and then I spawn in the Kittykami, it just drops all of its drones at the same time, rather than staggering them. And there's a few other things that I can't really fix at all, like the fact that the Nuggets always attack the center point of an enemy. But most of the other things I have fixed since the last episode. Like a viewer mentioned, these now get jettisoned up by the tractor beam a tenth of a second before it's time to launch them, so they don't collide as much with each other. There's other stuff I could do to make them launch cleaner. Still get in each other's way a little bit because they all launch a little differently. But mostly, everything works now. And since I've actually put armor on the Kittykami herself, it's actually fair to shoot at her. This alloy is partially just for buoyancy. Her broadside armor is her thickest, at being about 3 meters of wood, a layer of stone, and a layer of alloy, which is still relatively unarmored. Later, after I armored her, I changed her broadside angle to 10 degrees, so she'll actually run almost straight away or towards something, which, okay, makes maybe the broadside armor not the most useful thing in the world. And then her deck armor is between 2 and 3 layers of wood, so not that much. And although some internal components will have an additional layer of something. Overall, not incredibly well armored, largely reliant on space. And if she's taking kinetic damage, the fact that she's made out of wood and stone makes her reasonably efficient. But for the most part, just relying not to get shot at. Unlike last time, I have God mode off, because she's actually fully armored now. So let's spawn in her nemesis, the Kitakami. And it's not that obvious that these are getting jettisoned upwards, because the rate that they move when the tractor beam is... well, that does happen sometimes too. When the tractor beam is extended, is pretty similar to the rate that they actually move at. The Nuggets pull up out of the dive more aggressively than they used to, and they wiggle when they come out of it. They still get hit, but it's not as often as they used to. They also have some altitude adjustment based on the enemy's altitude, so it's less likely for them to slam into flying targets. The Kitakami is fairly fast, so she's actually a little hard to dive bomb. In particular, the Nuggets are actually the worst when they're coming in for a dive bomb straight off the stern on a fast target. Straight off the bow is not great either. But a target like the Kitakami really just can't deal with this kind of firepower. And we'll look at sort of a few different things that we can fight and what's good and what's bad. Obviously, good anti-air is going to be a problem for us. In particular, lasers, like if we're fighting the Ampere or something, it's just a non-starter. So the Kittykami herself took 4%. Not a whole lot of damage. This is interesting. I find it highly unlikely that that was an issue with my breadboard. Most likely a tractor beam issue. They're behaving a little oddly sometimes right now. So the Ampere both has very good lambs, and, well, at least I think it has good lambs. Maybe it doesn't have any lambs, but anyway, it has such good point defense that it just fries all of the Nuggets on the way in, and they never do anything. Kinetic point defense, good, but not impenetrable. The other Steel Striders ship that I think, okay, might be a little bit of a problem. It's at roughly the same cost as the Kitakami. They all made it out that time. The Braveheart don't know if I mentioned this, the angle that the Nuggets pull up at is a bit steeper than before. I should probably make it even steeper, actually. So, with Seawiz, it's really... well, it fell off. It's really important for it to be highly responsive, like the Bravehearts is, so it was able to... wow, usually things are not able to actually hit the Nuggets that efficiently, even if they have very good kinetic weapons. But it's very important for it to be that responsive, so very good barrel elevation speeds, good turn rate on the turrets, that kind of thing. And then they're able to zap these missiles coming in. A lot of enemy vehicles are unable to actually stop the bombs from the Nuggets because they get dropped at about 200 meters, and that's often not close enough to either get their Seawiz aimed in the correct direction, especially if it's idle aiming at the Kitakami herself instead of the Nuggets, or if they use missile-based systems, they can't get the missiles on track in time. So other things that can be a little bit of a problem, and I mean, part of it is just once you start stepping up the cost of the enemy, like this is 150,000 more expensive, we can start to get into a little bit of an issue. The Stralsund boasts quite a lot of firepower, so she's able to destroy the Kittykami herself reasonably quickly, which I didn't repair after the last fight, probably won't make much of a difference, but her missiles will also target the Kitty Hawks, which is a little bit of a problem. They're actually a significant percentage of the firepower. Also, against a lot of enemies, especially as they get larger, the fact that we drop all of our bombs in the middle becomes a larger and larger problem. The Stralsund also has the one gun pointing backwards, which will take out some Nuggets. We only lost one that pass. We might lose another one coming in. It's not super common that it happens, though. So the Kittykami's at 84%, we lost another one coming in. Stralsund's at 88%. Oh, lost another one. Ideally, the Kitty Hawks get some decent rate out of their plunging fire because they get left alone the longest, although it's very possible for them to take missiles from the Stralsund, and that can be a huge problem. Direct firepower, 230, that's still quite a lot. She's starting to list, though. The Stralsund will roll over relatively easily. Coming in for another bombing run. And have redeployed a few of the injured Nuggets. Basically, the Nuggets get more and more effective as time goes on because they get replenished and the enemy ship doesn't. So the enemies... oh, missed with those bombs. So the enemy's anti-air defenses get worse and worse, but the Nuggets don't get seriously degraded. I think we just put a... yeah, we put that bomb through the hole in the middle. I think this was friendly fire. That happens a lot. I'm probably going to make another iteration of a carrier at some point. I don't know if it's a thing that I'll work on immediately, but I'll probably take another pass with fewer, heavier bombers. There's a few issues with using this small number, or this large number of very small bombers. There's other stuff I can do, like even if I can't get the bounding box or aim points on the enemy to get more diverse places to hit. If I have a heavy bomber that just carpet bombs, one experiment I want to do is one that sort of rakes a target from bow to stern, or from stern to bow probably, and always comes in right off the stern. You can just kind of carpet bomb the whole thing. Don't know exactly how long it is, so against some targets you won't hit the whole thing, some targets you'll waste some bombs, but at that point it might be worth dropping medium heat bombs or something, and trying to basically just pen every single turret along the entire ship if they don't have any sort of heat defense along the top of them. So this time the Kittykami is significantly worse for wear. Still have engine power. Actually can probably still move as well. No steering though, so we just go in circles. I meant to turn repair tentacles off. Doesn't make a huge difference because the Kitakami isn't actually that important in these fights. Little CJE parts raining down, so you can sort of figure where that came from. Okay, that Kitty Hawk is already repaired, so it doesn't really matter if it's still getting pulled in. Let's look at a few things that might be kind of interesting as well. And then I won't go against anything that just completely hard counters this, but a few things that give it a really, really good run for its money. The Stralsund is kind of one of those. Oh, there's also no smoke on the Kittykami. It doesn't really do any good for wood anyway. Fortunately, the Titan's not that fast. We can still hit the Obsession with bombs, but it's a little bit more of a problem. Those are not very good bomb hits either. It's a little bit more of a problem to hit the Obsession with bombs because she moves really fast, which I consider just extreme cheese, because the Obsession should not have the power to move nearly as fast as she can. The only reason she can move fast is because sub-objects don't create any drag or slow her down at all. I have no idea what the Titan's rear armor is like. Oh, she probably does not like that. I mean, that's such insane repair spam that it barely matters, but... So she actually... So the Titan actually has really bad... There's probably... Yeah, there's an injury there. Been fighting for a while, so I'm going to replenish materials on the Kittykami. But... There's some really bad Heshliner on the front of the Titan. I have no idea if the rear has the same vulnerabilities, so... I would have liked to kill her earlier. Still, she's fallen down to 79%. It's about the same as the Kittykami, and has really a lack of any anti-air capabilities. And that was sufficient. Usually it doesn't take that long, but always a bit up to chance. Just really hitting the ammo storage on the Titan is the important part. I'm not going to bother destroying the base. Take a look. Did a fair bit of damage. I don't think there were ruptures to... That was really close to the AI, but I don't think there's any ruptures to any of the drone holders, so she still serves her function. The ideal is also to have her be part of a larger fleet, and to simply not really have to worry about her taking fire at all, although for the purpose of these battles, she's really all that we've got. I could do the Bertha as well. That's actually easier than the Titan because she shoots all of her missiles into the Kittykami, and in my tests has actually been less tanky despite the fact that she's listed as having double the effective health. Maybe that was just luck, but it wasn't really that interesting. So I guess stepping up in cost a little bit, there's the Tiger Shark. This is a test that I have run. So Tiger Shark, very one-dimensional, just pounds the Kittykami herself with just this massive railgun. Has A-lambs. It's not necessarily good, and is relatively poorly armored. So if you get in there and start unloading, it really hurts her. But at the same time, she dishes quite a lot of damage back. Unfortunately, It looks like we took out her ammo customizer, actually, but that's not going to stop her from firing for a long time. Even though a lot of components have been exposed. I was looking to see where those missiles were going. Have been exposed. Oh, we just bombed one of our own ships. Didn't actually take out that APS, but fairly poor armoring, especially among the deck area, which, I mean, that's common. You can only armor so much of your ship before it just becomes a giant block of armor and doesn't actually do anything. But Thresher Shark in particular, not very much in the way of armor. However, between those explosive missiles and the rail shells, it does a lot of damage. There's not much here, so those shells are just going to go through from one side to the other, at least the ones that were coming in above the waterline. Ones down here, maybe not. Okay, this is the second time taking on the Briar. The first time, the physics engine just kind of stopped, and the Kittykami flew off into space, despite only having water-based propulsion and no helium pumps, or air pumps actually, for that matter. So let's spawn the Briar in, check her out because she is one of the new additions to the game. Her anti-air capabilities are a little disappointing. Make sure I'm not holding weapons, but she's very expensive, moderately armored, well, actually very heavily armored as far as the white flares are concerned, lots of firepower. We just have anti-missiles. Let's see if we can watch them launching. Haven't stopped anything so far, but they'll stop. Well, actually, they didn't stop anything. They work better sometimes than others. It looks like they stopped the shots from the Kittykami, though, who's already at 86%. Well, this turret's stuck, but, you know, sometimes you just get lucky. This is a property of these missiles. They are probably radar guided, so we'll just absolutely wreck the Kitty Hawks sometimes. However, the defenses for the Nuggets have proved lackluster, except for the two that took each other out. Kitakami is still holding up pretty well. Was definitely taking fire from this forward gun. Don't think the other one's firing. There must be an AI down on the Briar. Down to not a lot of firepower. To me, it looks like this gun is the only one left firing. It must have come very, very close. Oh man, I was hoping this Kitty Hawk would stay flying enough to get repaired by the other one. Came very close to getting taken out by a Hesh. Oh, one of them bombed the other one. That just happens sometimes. We're starting to get to the stage where shells are going through the middle of craft, and must be AI dead because we've retreated all of our vehicles. So Briar can be a little bit of a mixed bag. Her AI is in the region that we're shooting at, which helps a little bit, at least makes up for the fact that we can't take out the turrets with the Nuggets. I'm pretty sure I turned off repair tentacles, did I remember? I hit F7, it didn't show me anything. No, I don't remember how many times I hit it. Well, anyway, you'll have been able to tell in the UI whether it was highlighted or not. I at least intended to turn it off. Again, probably doesn't make the biggest difference. So, Kittykami, fair bit of damage. Not massive, 76%. Actually took out most of the missiles, a little bit more than half, maybe 3 of the 8 missile tubes remaining. So that's a little unfortunate because it's a pretty small target to actually hit those. Don't know if any of them are firing anymore either. There's one shared controller for all of the missiles in the AI compartment, and that's done so that all of the missiles can stagger as a group to provide distractions for the Nuggets. Well, anyway, that was my actual field testing, real combat, that sort of stuff. No God mode on any of the vehicles for the Kittykami. And next episode, I'll be back in the adventure mode. Originally, I was planning on making a battleship type thing after the Kittykami, purely for the adventure mode. But now I'm thinking, based on other things that I want to build, I'll probably do a conversion of one of my other vehicles instead, so that I can start building some other stuff. There's a few other things I have in mind. Don't actually know what I'll wind up with. Well, anyway, I'm going to go put this up on the Steam Workshop. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the future.